A few disclaimers for this episode. This is for entertainment purposes only, and nothing we say should be taken as fact.
And a content warning, there are brief mentions of SA, DV, and CA in this episode. Listener discretion is advised. Hermes draw near, and to my prayer incline, in arts gymnastic and in fraud divine.
Dire weapon of the tongue which men revere, be present, Hermes, in thy subplant here. Welcome to Third Eye Bind, episode 46, Hollywood Cults. No, I'm like really triggered. That's why I'm laughing.
Me
because
too.
It's
how I cope.
I
have to laugh.
Highly triggered by the
topic at hand.
The topic at hand.
Yeah.
As someone who, I think I was in a cult. So we can talk about that. And not in a fun way.
Well, welcome to Third Eye Bind.
I'm Laura.
And I'm Caitlin.
And welcome to Third Eye Bind. We already said that. It's fine.
We said it. And
we said it. We meant it. Said it twice. It's twice as nice. We're giggly because today we're talking about a very serious episode that is very triggering. And sometimes we get the giggles when we are triggered. We are talking about Hollywood cults.
Hollywood cults.
Hollywood.
There are cults all over the world.
Cults.
There are cults all over this country.
Hollywood.
But we decided to zero in on what's happening in our own backyard. And we probably will giggle a lot through this. And it's not out of disrespect. It's more out of severe anxiety.
It's more out of severe neurotypical, not neurotypical.
Like neurodivergent.
Yeah, help me.
Yeah.
Yes, I can't even talk about it. Neurodivergent reactions to things.
But before we get into the meat and potato,
the pollo con papas of this episode. That's chicken and potatoes. That's meat.
It's chicken. It's good.
Thank you.
We want to thank you for supporting our show and invite you to please like, subscribe. Please offer us a rating if you're listening on Spotify or
anywhere.
Podcasts. Yeah, Apple Pods, wherever it is that you're listening. Please rate our show because it helps us get out to more people who would also think that we are awesome.
Yeah. That's something we're working on right now is expanding our reach. So tell a friend. Word of mouth is the best marketing
tool. Word of mouth really is the best.
Especially with podcasts. I feel like I'm constantly like sending my bestie like, different weird spooky shit to listen to.
Oh, totally.
And yeah, it helps us a lot.
It helps us a lot. And if you would like to go that extra mile, you are welcome to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/thirdeyebind. Laura's created a really cool holographic set of stickers. Yes,
I'll send you a sticker pack eventually. It might take me a few weeks to like figure it out. But they'll get there.
They will come.
They'll get there. We are an independently run podcast and we both have multiple full-time jobs. So your patience is appreciated.
Absolutely.
We also have merch.
And it's real cute.
Let me show.
See?
This is one of our sweaters. Third Eye Bind.
I was so excited to find out we had a crop sweater. Mm-hmm. Like this.
A hoodie crop.
This is exciting to me. And then my fave.
We have our logo designs.
ASMR, a little plastic ASMR.
All right. Fancy.
Ta-da! It's Hermes.
It's our Hermes statue.
Right before, like moments before we filmed our first episode, Laura was like, I bought this Hermes statue. I'm going to paint it.
Yeah.
And she like whipped out a bunch of different purple paints and mixed them together. And
I thought, how cool would it be to just drip? I don't know.
It does look fucking cool. And now we have a really cool t-shirt, sweatshirt with Hermes on it.
With headphones because he's listening to Third Eye Bind. His own podcast dedicated to.
So there are lots of amazing ways you can support our show.
Yeah, and the merch is fun because you get to wear it, and then people go, "What the is that?" And you go, "Oh, it's this podcast. It's fun."
You should listen.
You should listen to it sometime. Woo! All right, are we gonna do this?
Yeah, let's
okay. So,
have mercy.
It's
like,
chaos.
oh, no.
The cards are like, let's get out of here. We don't like it. They just fell on the floor. For those of you, pause.
Sorry,
you're like, I actually have to get up. It's okay. Thank you. Hey, we can keep rolling. It's all good.
Got them all. Yeah, I would leave it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
We're like on a ride and locked into our positions once we start recording.
We really are. It is like a roller coaster.
I feel like I'm going to visit like relatives I don't want to visit.
Yes.
Like that's the feeling I have. I'm like, what am I going to do when I get home from this?
We are here to challenge ourselves, evidently.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
So let's see what the cards have to say.
Yeah. That would be fun.
That's it. Okay.
Please make sense.
Does it ever not?
True. What the? What the? Okay. Okay. What? But this actually kind of makes sense a little bit.
It does actually kind of work.
It's starting to sink in for me.
We pulled the sun.
The sun.
And
the last card I would have thought we would pull for this.
The first thing.
Have fun, Caitlin.
Have fun.
How the do we justify this one?
Let's see you bring this back around.
Let's do it. I have faith in you. Yeah,
what's funny is actually the first thing that stood out to me before I even noticed that it was the sun is I saw the lyrics around the outside about I'm in heaven. Mm-hmm. And I have been like balls deep.
It's called Fantasy by Mariah
Just
Carey.
Sweet. But I was like super in like Heaven's Gate realm when I was researching for this show, and so that like immediately struck me when I saw it. I was like, oh my god.
Also, the imagery of the card is Mariah looking real happy, and there's butterflies and there's sunflowers, and it's like this illusion, this fantasy.
I was just about to say
I think
that.
I think that's where it's going.
I wanted to look at the bottom of the deck, and it makes sense. So we pulled the sun, and we pulled justice.
Oh.
And okay, and the song is perfect too. It's Alanis Morissette.
Oh,
it's not fair to deny me of the cross I bear that you gave to me. You ought to know. So when it comes to the sun, something that I have come to understand through my limited time researching cults is that what lures people in is this promise of a better life and a better world.
Yes.
Of joy in an existence where pain and violence and oppression are embedded into the systems that we are stuck in. Mm-hmm. And these groups invite people to experience an alternative way of living that helps them to escape from the hardships that are very present in our daily realities. The other thing that the sun is making me think of is how these groups, I'm going to say almost always, if not always, revolve around a central person.
Yeah.
They become the sun.
The center, the power source.
The prophet, the one who is worshipped by the members. And then it stops being about your life getting better. And it's more about being in servitude to this one central figure who becomes everyone's sun and moon and stars. Yeah. And so it also makes sense on the bottom of the deck that we have justice, because there's so much gaslighting and brainwashing that goes on that when people want to get out, like they don't have the tools.
Yeah.
Most people don't even think.
Most people don't even know they're in a cult.
Most people don't even know they're in a cult.
Step one.
Yes.
No, there's a problem.
Step one is to know, and
Yes.
most people don't know. And even if you do find out, there's a lack of support, either because they don't have the financial resources or they don't have connection to family, that stops them from being able to leave. And I think justice also kind of speaks to the picking up the pieces once you're out and having to like put your life back together and figure out who you are. And it's an interesting...
That's really actually
pairing
perfect.
of cards. It's perfect. And it's also a beautiful example of how there's no good and bad cards in the tarot.
Yeah.
Any card can fluctuate on any side of the spectrum depending on what you're reading on.
It's a very good point, because initially I was like, the sun, that's like a positive card.
It's the happiest card.
It's a happy card, but underneath the happiest people, organizations, is sometimes real darkness.
Sinister.
And that facade, that to me, like in this instance, in this reading, it's a facade. It's the shiny coating of the manicure of the cults, and which is essential to its survival. To a cult survival is the facade, is the PR, is the image that outsiders have of it, but more importantly, that the followers
Maintain. Are forced to maintain. Cults exist in many different ways and many different levels of cultism, right? There's more religious cults. Absolutely.
Where, they're following a dogma. They're usually following a central leader who has started this cult. And it's sort of pyramid schemes. MLMs are cults.
Yeah.
Shopping cults. Educational cults. The one that I was in. Things that don't even know they're cults or not even trying to be cults. Things that are set up like cults, but they're more subtle cults where you may not even realize that it was a cult until like 10 years later, like me. And you uncover trauma and abuse that you didn't know you experienced further down the line in your life. And sometimes that you realize right away you're in a cult, and sometimes it takes a long time to realize that. And so I think it's interesting that the same abuses can happen in these very different groups and situations, that there's more traditional cults like Children of God or whatever. Everyone knows that's a cult. Or there's like, a really intense educational experience. That's...
Well, okay. And
it's very it's very nuanced and interesting.
I was thinking about you a lot during the research for this episode, because our focus is on Hollywood cults, of which there are many. And I was like, why does that happen here? And California has for a long time been a place where people go to get well.
Yeah.
There's this idealized vision of California as a place to get better. Something about the coast and the warm weather. What's that song? It Never Rains in Los Angeles.
Sunny.
Yeah.
Sunny.
It's sunny.
The sun.
Sunny.
That is very weird too. That we pulled the sun because LA is it's the sunny Southern California.
Yeah.
Like
California's the Sunshine
State.
Even at the turn of the century, like doctors would prescribe people to go to California to get better. And because of this like mission to discover wellness that's been around for a couple centuries now in this space, it's become like
a mecca.
A mecca for these like self-actualization, self-realization type of cults to make manifest and spread. And the other thing is like actors are so susceptible to cults.
Yes.
Like so deeply susceptible to cults. Even like in 69, I think that some of the Manson family, like the women, were actresses.
Yeah. Well, Charles Manson was a musician.
Yeah, a failed musician.
Like a failed musician who was like obsessed with the Beatles and was kind of, I think, bitter about it. It's something being rejected. And then that was a big part of his thing, was like performance, and it's creepy. But I'm sure if you live in LA, you know somebody in that cult was probably a performer or was here to make it and belong. And in LA, it's dangerous because there are people that will prey on the fact that you will do almost anything to make it, to become famous in your craft.
Your big break. Yeah.
And that includes like acting class teachers. There's acting classes I know of in LA that are like low-key cults that will feed you into some of the larger cults in Hollywood.
I think that was part of the NXIVM thing, too.
And NXIVM, like NXIVM, and the one that rhymes with numerology, which we will not be discussing because it's that scary. So, there's some funnels that there are like pipelines that are facades that are actually meant to pipe you into these other cults.
Well, even, more recently, like one of the not so historical cults is this alleged cult called 7M. And it's connected to
Club S Club 7. S Club 7.
I would join that cult.
I would join that cult too.
So it's called 7M, and it targets TikTok influencers. People with large audiences, specifically like people who do TikTok dances. I swear to fucking God.
Oh, this is the one you referred to.
We kind of talked about it. I think season 1. We talked the TikTok dance cult. So they just published something in Rolling Stone this year about them and how they're like finally being exposed for what they really are. And it's like the Hype House, I guess. It's not the Hype House, but that might be a cult too. But they're like house where they were keeping some of the dancers and doing some of the filming was in North Hollywood, but it's actually a Santa Ana based Christian megachurch called like Shekinah Church.
Yeah. Mike's laughing.
I wish Mike's laugh got picked up by the camera because it's so funny. But like they've basically like recruit these people and tell them, oh, we'll manage your career for you and help grow your audience. And they take over their social media platforms. Like they do all the posting for them. They take like their passwords. They take all their income.
Okay.
They decide what you're allowed to do, who you're allowed to talk to. They encourage you to cut off your family.
Oh, yeah, that's a cult.
That's a cult. That, like, financial abuse partnered with isolating you from your family outside of the group and, like, making you move in with them. And
that's scary.
And the pastor now is finally, by the girl who was like recruited, and people were talking about it in like 2021, I think, or 2022. She's out now, and so is her boyfriend, and she's like spilling the beans, and she's accused the pastor of allegedly SAing her, being in a propes, saying he was going to help crack her back.
Like very gymnast coach.
And that's the other thing so many of these places have in common. Like not just financial abuse, but also like that kind of abuse. Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty common with, if you want to control somebody.
It's a good way to break them down.
It's a good way to break them down. That's interesting that you mentioned the social media aspect of like cults, because social media is a thing where we can see how many followers somebody has. We can see their status, and that makes it more alluring to us sometimes to follow them. Like, well, there's so many people that follow this person. Wow. I mean,
well, and part of the reason they want to target people with big audiences is that they already have a captive audience. So then they can use that platform to evangelize and recruit more.
Yes. It's just...
There's this girl, I just remembered this. There's this girl on TikTok who, I don't know, I think she's based out of Chicago, not Hollywood. So I'm going off track a little bit.
Wow, Caitlin.
But she was recruited into a cult, and it was like one of those Christian megachurch type of cults.
Yeah.
And the leader, they call him the prophet. And they basically wanted her for her giant platform on YouTube and TikTok. And they took all of her passwords, and they like allegedly are forcing her to like record these scripted things, and they're doing all the editing and adding all these like, you know, passages and stuff on top. And then they're all just basically recruitment videos now.
Yeah.
And it's wild how cult behavior is evolving with
technology.
the technology of our time.
Yeah.
Because back in the day...
Had to do it old school. Had to do it old school.
You do it old school. I was really surprised to see... I guess I wasn't that surprised, but it was just interesting to see it all laid out. How many celebrities grew up in cults.
Yeah. Well, it's the, you know, if you're in LA or if you're a performer, if your parents were performers or whatever, it's that whole...
Like your parents were hippies in the 60s.
Yeah. Well, if you think about hippies, they're very idealistic people.
Yeah.
And so what's even something that may have been meant to do good can turn bad
especially
real quick.
When there's some sort of narcissistic person who decides to like become the figurehead.
I feel like, yeah, that's definitely a key trait of a cult leader is they are narcissists.
Yeah.
I don't think I would be a very good cult leader. I'd be the cult of, okay.
I definitely don't have the self-confidence
I don't have the ego. I don't have the ego to be a cult leader. No. But things can turn very quickly.
People can change.
As you know, with, you know, you putting boundaries up against your clients who get a little too into you sometimes. Yeah. And you're like, no. But how easy for you would it be
to just be like,
to just say, yeah, and to feed into that. It takes a very special person to say no to that. Yeah. And I think that's happening a lot in our community.
The witchy community.
Witchcraft.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of like idol worship.
There's a lot of idol worship.
Putting people on pedestals.
Yeah, I'm not about that life.
No.
And it's frightening, and it can be very subtle, and especially with the resurgence of something like witchcraft and magical practicing, because there's not a lot of set information about it, and it's something that's been suppressed and campaigned against for centuries. People want to know. People need knowledge. People want information. They want to learn. They want to do all these things all of a sudden. And then there's people that are willing to fit those bills, you know, and
say, I can teach you this now.
I can teach you this now. I know this. Follow me. And it's just like, can you not do that? It's very ugly.
That is why Laura and I mostly stay away from like magical social media.
Yeah, it scares me.
Me too.
So,
do you want to talk about some of the cults that are on your mind? Do you want to talk about your own experience?
I'll talk about. I'm okay with talking
about it.
Do you want me to
start with like something silly first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go silly.
So let's start with silly as a little appetizer.
I like that.
So one of the newer Hollywood cults is founded by 90s hunk
Andrew Keegan.
And it's pretty silly at this point. I think at least based on what we know right now, it seems to be not as insidious as most cults.
But it's silly.
Like their biggest scandal was that they got busted for selling kombucha without an alcohol license.
Ooh. Like we said, cults exist in many different levels.
Ways. And look, like
some are silly billies.
It's problematic, hands down. Like there's so much misappropriation of Hinduism. Yeah. And like, you know, mismatching of other cultures, and they talk about like praying over water crystals for peace in the Middle East, and I'm like, well, at least they're praying for something nice,
right? Yeah, but that's LA. That's the most
just
LA
so
thing I've
LA.
ever heard.
This is the most LA thing ever.
Look, I'll tell you the most LA thing ever. This is a sad story. It doesn't end well, but it's funny. Okay, a dog got hit by a car on my street. Okay. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh no, we were all around the dog trying to figure out how to pick it up because it was a giant Great Dane puppy. Aww. Okay. And rest in peace, Gazan. Okay. And Gazan did not make it. It's okay. But, you know, we're trying, and this woman comes up and I shit you not, starts giving it Reiki.
The dead dog?
The almost dead dog, some Reiki.
Oh,
it wasn't. I know it's sad, but like just having a woman come and go, "Oh, I'm a Reiki healer," like that doesn't happen anywhere else but here.
It's the most Los Angeles thing ever.
And I don't live on like a main street. This was just like one of my neighbor, and I was just like, "What the."
I feel like even some of these certification programs are cultish.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
and like Reiki is an authentic ancestral practice from Japan, but what it's become here is the same thing as like what yoga has become here.
Oh yeah,
which is like commodified, and it's a white lady who's giving you your master certification.
Mm-hmm. I'm a Reiki master. No, we don't get to do that to Asian.
I don't want to be a master of anything.
No.
See, we don't even call the big bedroom masters anymore. We call them primaries. Like, why would you want to call yourself a master?
Because you were probably very insecure.
That's
and
like colonial AF. But I think that obsession with like keep paying this person to get a higher certification and a higher certification so I can ascend and like heal the world and myself is like kind of culty too. And it's very LA.
That was the most LA thing that's ever happened to me. I couldn't. I was like, seriously?
You're like not. Are you even in LA if somebody isn't trying to like offer Reiki?
Oh, no. I feel bad for actual Reiki practitioners because it's that cliche here.
It sucks.
It's that cliche to where if I meet someone and they tell me they're a student of Reiki or a Reiki master, and they also, the photo that they use on their business card is also their headshot, I'm like, I don't want to know you. I don't want to know you. I am not taking you seriously. And I'm a witch. I call myself a witch.
Red alert.
And I'm not taking it seriously. That's
usually a red flag here, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate.
But it's a lot like yoga here.
Kind of
like
the same with yoga too.
Has become like power core, girl boss sweat stretch.
Yeah, and in traditional yoga, it's not even about yoga pants and yoga mats. Even you can,
and the movement is just one part of it.
Yeah, like, and there's no like doing the move perfectly is not the goal in yoga. That's a whole another episode we could do.
I do feel like some of those like yoga places are cult like too.
No, they are like
the being seen
the hot yoga guy.
Okay.
No,
but Rama. This reminds me, one of the biggest ones in Hollywood. It's actually in Venice.
Oh, Venice.
Rama allegedly.
Venice. Huh.
Rama Kundalini Yoga in Venice Beach.
Oh,
which
do tell.
Okay, Rama Kundalini Yoga was founded by Katie Griggs, who rebranded herself as Guru Jagat.
That sounds like a white woman.
She is a white woman.
What?
She really like got her leg up by pitching herself as the millennial white feminist version of Guru Bhajan, and would adorn Rama Institute with portraits of Guru Bhajan and sat beneath one while she like pontificated during her classes.
Okay.
Who's Guru Bhajan, you ask?
Yeah, who is Guru Bhajan?
Who is Guru Bhajan?
I want to know.
So he's the man credited with bringing Sikhism and yoga to the Western mainstream with a focus on Kundalini yoga. Sounds cool, right?
Yeah.
Wrong.
Oh, wrong. I was like, this sounds all right to me.
Bhajan was allegedly also a cult leader.
Oh.
The brand of Sikhism that he brought here bared absolutely no resemblance to authentic Sikhism.
Oh,
It was very white-centered, enforced vegetarian diets, which is not a part of Sikhism, guru worship. Like, there's no guru worship in real Sikhism. And he also incorporated yoga, which is apparently not part of authentic Sikhism either. He's also an accused
Grapist
of all ages.
Oh.
People of all ages.
So this person came from
and this is who
she is worshiping.
modeling herself after, right? So we're off to a bad start.
Well,
right?
he's done something smart by coming to LA, or, introducing it to the West. People who love to appropriate and take things.
Exactly. He knew what he was doing coming here.
Yeah, it's very smart.
Yeah. And he would shop in Beverly Hills on Rodeo. He was a staple there. He had a white Cadillac. And it's because all of these white people who wanted to be self-actualized and feel more important would pour all of their money into him, into his alleged cult. Yeah. And it made him very, very wealthy. And she's like, yeah, that's the one. Print out an 8x10 and put it up right behind me.
Give me a movie-sized poster of this
life-size cutout.
I want cardboard cutout time.
Okay, and that's who she idolized. So this is the foundation we're starting on. This white woman is obsessed with this guy. So Guru Jaga ended up rising to fame because she attracted a lot of wealthy and celebrity clientele. So she was really big with the Brentwood housewives circuits, the Calabasas housewives circuits. Yeah. She also had people allegedly Alicia Keys and I know. Other, celebs who were hanging out at the Rama Institute to get their kundalini. Kundalini is the chanting.
Get their kundalini
on. And she would make them roll around like logs. Okay. I'm going to say it on the show because she's never going to hear this. But my old boss would wake up at 4 a.m. every day and go
and roll around like
Rama
a log?
and roll around like a log and chant with her arms up at Rama and then come to work and treat us like dogs.
Poo-poo. Okay.
And when we would go on business trips, nobody wanted to room with her because A, you shouldn't have to room with your boss. And that's a fucked up thing we do in the apparel industry.
Ew.
And B, she would wake up at 4 a.m., open up the windows and
roll
start
around
fucking
like a
chanting.
on the hotel room floor.
This is New York. We're jet lagged. We just got here.
Wow.
But in 2019, so she's doing her thing. She sells moon juice in the front of her store.
Moon juice is
and I've never
store.
I've always felt skeptical of moon juice from the second they opened. And I love some juicy, okay?
It's good juice.
I am an Angelino through and through.
But it is very
and I love
LA.
me some cold pressed juice. But there's just something about that place. It's also by my favorite pho place. Pho Cafe.
Moon juice is interesting. I would love to do more research on that.
Do you remember when
I have the moon juice cookbook.
Somebody stole the crystal from moon juice?
No.
And they put out a reward and they were just so you know, the energy it brings you is going to be so bad
Christ.
because you it was really funny. Anyway.
I mean
moon juice is on Goop's list.
Oh.
But they sell moon juice at Rama Yoga. She's one of the attendees.
Oh, I'm sure.
The founder of Moon Juice.
Oh, then I don't like them anymore.
Yeah. But in 2019,
moon juice?
In 2019, former members started to come out anonymously accusing, they were ex-employees and ex-devotees, accusing the workplace of harassment and mismanagement of funds. And I remember when this account came out because Michelle of Holisticism, I don't know if you've looked at Holisticism.
I don't know.
But she's also obsessed with Rama Institute, not participating, investigating.
Right.
And so when this random Instagram account just magically appeared, she was like, oh my God, have you seen this?
Oh,
and it's
fun.
called Rama Wrong, and it's still there. Go check it out. And it's basically this place where people anonymously were airing all of their grievances. They were putting screenshots of the insane abusive text messages. Guru Jaga. I'm going to call her Katie Griggs.
Don't call her Guru,
I'm not
whatever
call her
the hell.
Guru Jaga, but
No.
they were posting all of the insane abusive text messages she was sending. She was bad, like she was a bad person with a bad heart. Is here preaching to like the Hollywood and Venice Beach elite about, you know, like self-actualization and being a good person and freeing yourself, and she's abusing her employees.
We know what a lot of white spiritual awakenings are about. It's about making yourself feel better about yourself without actually doing the work to change how you treat people.
Ta-da! That's exactly it.
That's what it does.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I did my little Kundalini rolling log today. I can treat my employees like garbage.
Yeah, garbage. And like,
I can
most
be a
of
terrible person and vote for, you know, Republicans or whatever.
Katie Griggs became a part of the spirituality to alt-right pipeline when COVID hit as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, Lord forbid we have, you know, vaccinations.
Very avidly anti-vax. And very, like, she got into, like, the conspiracies of COVID and, like, how it's all made up and blah, blah, blah.
There's a lot
like,
of people that get into I've mentioned this before, I had a few friends get in really QAnon and weird. It's the spiritual, it's just, there's something in the air with those things. And I think it's when people aren't, like, grounded.
Yes.
In
she
whatever,
was so, like, high on herself.
Yeah, they're not, you get so up your own butt that like you can't
I think part of it
see
also
the ground.
comes
I don't know.
from like not ever actually experiencing any sort of oppression.
Yes.
So you kind of have to make it up your own.
Yes. Well,
in a weird way.
And yeah, there's some other things that
like you want to invent your
I want to
own.
talk about, but they also scare me.
But then she started to
I won't
become
talk about it.
like a Holocaust and AIDS denier.
Okay. Have you seen Rent, bitch?
Have you not seen Rent? Because I have.
AIDS was real.
Many times.
AF and awful.
Did you not listen to Queen?
Do you not know who Freddie Mercury is?
So,
Do you not know?
It's like really ramping up. All of this stuff is coming out about her. She's getting super aggro in the like, not openly QAnon, but spouting all these things and supporting all of those types of people. Her main confidant and business partner was this man who goes by Harijiwan, and he's a convicted felon who spent 18 months in federal prison for 2000 in his involvement in one of Yogi Bhajan's telemarketing schemes. So the OG.
Oh my God.
Then she died.
Who died?
In 2021. Katie
died?
Katie. Yeah. Guru Jaga died. Katie Griggs died.
How?
Mystery.
Oh, goodness.
The official story per Rama Institute
She probably faked her death. See?
Okay, the official story is that Jagat died of a pulmonary embolism following an ankle surgery. And this was right after she had just posted an Instagram of herself coming out of a gold elevator shooting one of those money guns. Spraying money. That was like her last post, and then dead. Okay.
What a way to go out.
Right. But everyone outside of the circle thinks that either it was a drug overdose.
Yeah.
It was COVID.
Huh.
Because it was right before the vaccines
were available.
Right? They were still all talking about it.
Yeah.
Or
if they were against any sort of help, that would make sense.
Or that she faked her own death to avoid the cancel campaign.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
People tend to leave the country when they're, we're going to relocate to a different spot.
And it's still going. It's still open. They still have classes.
It's so tempting to start a cult.
I would be so rich.
It's so tempting. But I couldn't do that. I couldn't get past the hurting people and the ego for me is probably the biggest thing. Like
the abuse is
the
wild.
abuse and the just taking advantage of people and trying to. I'll talk about something that I've researched a little bit. Playboy. Playboy is one of those things I was talking about where it's like not obviously a cult, but is cult-esque and cult-like. Because Hugh Hefner was someone who started a magazine, preached female empowerment, sexual freedom, while at the same time allegedly allowing underage abuse, SA, many grapes to go on behind the scenes in the mansion, behind closed doors, surveilling like everyone that lived there.
Yeah, that part's creepy.
It's creepy. And
they all had like curfews.
Yes, they have controlling, domineering, not empowering women, but the facade is, oh, well, this is this. But, and it's so sad because what these women were promised and lured in by was like, you'll be famous, you'll be rich, look at how you're going to be free. Like you just like, and there's nothing wrong with being naked and being a woman and being a sex worker or anything. Then I'm not saying they were sex workers, but some of them may have whatever.
Yeah.
Alleged all. But the fact that these things get swept under, these illegal behaviors get swept under the rug. And then years later, there's these women who were around in the 70s, 80s, whatever, and beyond going, oh, that was a cult.
Even like, okay, Holly
He
Madison.
was evil. Holly Madison,
talks about it.
And people don't believe them.
Yeah.
They don't believe her. They were like, well, you know, she's saying she experienced Stockholm syndrome, which is a real thing. They're like, well, you loved Hef, blah, blah, blah. But like, that was on camera.
So young,
she was young. These people are groomed. And then when they actually need support, they're discarded. They just don't. That's a prevalent theme with these cults or cult-like institutions like Playboy is the lack of resources to help the members when they actually need help. And that's something that I experienced in my theater conservatory cult. And the thing about like Playboy and these like cult-esque institutions is that people have different experiences with them.
Yeah.
Not everyone that I went to school with would agree that it was a cult or cult-like or abusive. There are people I have talked to that have gone to this institution that agree with me and that had some of the same experience and abuse by the same people that I did. And I didn't experience sexual abuse by anything having to do with the institution. But the mentality left me vulnerable to experience that in relationships and things like that. So that's a byproduct. But people have different experiences.
I think that's really important because I definitely know a few people who have like posed for Playboy or have gone to parties at Playboy and have had really wonderful experiences. But that doesn't mean that the other thing can't be true.
Yes.
Too.
It doesn't erase the experiences of other people just because you didn't have that experience with a person, with an institution, with whatever. It's people are complex, institutions are complex, and they're not all good and they're not all bad.
Yeah. Well, even like with Rama, how they're still going.
Some are all bad, but you know what I'm saying?
But I'm sure, you know,
people I'm sure
celebrities didn't have bad experiences, right?
No.
Because they have
the
access
VIPs.
to resource. They're the VIPs.
The VIPs at the Playboy Mansion had a great time.
Exactly. But it's the people who work there who are schlepping to Venice Beach from their apartment in K-Town for less than minimum wage and don't have any family in LA. Like those are the people that get taken advantage of and who don't have any other way out. And I think that does go back to like your experience and why so many actors are drawn into cults like NXIVM or like other things like that is because people come here with this idea of getting to do a thing and they have no support system at all.
And the thing that you're doing when you're becoming an actor or training intensely in a conservatory that's a very intense environment, 24/7, all the things that cults have, these things have. We were isolated from our friends and family because of time. I was literally in this institution for 2 years, nearly 24/7, because it would be 9 to 5, and then I would have rehearsal from like 6:30 to 11 p.m. And then I would get up and do it again, go to school and perform in the shows for free. for 2 years straight and during the summer and everything. And you're with the same people, the same teachers. You're being broken down emotionally. It's the same thing as a cult. And acting, like we talked about in performance, acting, magic, there's things that they make you vulnerable, right? Acting, at least the way that my institution was set up, you have to become open and become, I remember crying, like not everyone is ready to do that. I was not ready or mentally prepared to do that, because you're using your pain, you're using your trauma to identify with these different characters. And there's different methods of acting where you don't do that, but most of them, it's like, use what you have. Like, let's get deep in that trauma and find something that works for this messed up, like Blanche Dubois. Oh yeah, let's use your abandonment issues for that. Like these things. It's a really beautiful art form, but I think some institutions need to have mental health support. Students need to be in therapy while they're doing these things, especially because it's for real serious.
To tap into your trauma.
It's a lot of, and you're doing it and the peak at the pyramid is the work, the show. It's theater, it's like the show is the only thing that matters and everything else needs to be put aside. And that's how it is in the industry. And if you don't conform to that, you won't make it. That's literally it's literally 2 years of that shit. And not to completely compare this to like military training, but it's militaristic in the way that they conditioned you mentally to conform and to literally there's this workshop exercise called Suzuki. And the idea of it is to perform movements and tasks that are impossible. But the idea is to do it as a group repetitively, to try and attain the perfection, to try and like move in a way that's you're striving to make something that you can't do perfectly perfect. And it's very militant, and it's meant to, when you're in a group number, you're going to be on time. You're going to be aware of you're working as a unit, right? And it's like, I did like that. And I was like completely bought into it without any disclaimers of like, now, by the way, this is where this comes from and this is why it's helpful, but also know that this is just an exercise and blah, blah, blah. And there was absolutely, I think with a lot of, when I was talking about like Playboy and like exit strategies for people and support for people, like if you're in an institution, like a educational institution or like a fraternity or sorority, I've never been in those, so I don't know, but I know from my experience, there was no course on, okay, and now you're out of the school, and now what? There was nothing. It was just like, I left after 2 years of this training with no emotional support, no direction, no cool down period. Like when you go for a run, you need to do a lap where you like cool down, or else things are very jarring. The outside world is jarring. You're no longer doing fun, whimsical 24/7. You're like this open wound, and you have to just go back to like real life. And that was completely messed me up. And that's in retrospect, me seeing this like 12 years later. So yes, Playboy, theater institutions, art classes, whatever, are not inherently bad, but it's like when people have negative experiences with them, like Playboy, you have to listen and adjust and offer things that you maybe didn't before. You don't silence people. You can't do that to people. That's how you remain like
complicit.
Yeah. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with offering some mental health or training your teachers to be aware of trauma when they're emotionally abusing people. Because I was emotionally abused by a choreographer there for 2 years. You can't just treat people like shit anymore. And I'm grateful for that. And that was not that long ago. Like, and we've come so far as a society, especially lately with some people that are actually being convicted for things that you don't get sentences for usually.
I know. Usually don't even get to trial.
Yeah. Believing survivors. I don't really give a shit how many men are held accountable for things. I don't care. I'm not really worried about them being canceled. They're scared because they're being called out. And people that are abusive need to be called out, if for nothing else, for them to learn something and to change. I don't really like the things I experienced and what so many other people have experienced and what marginalized communities have experienced. Like, people actually are starting to give a shit. We have to believe these people. We have to, because, and we can't go, oh, well, you know, they were my friend and they never did it to me. Like, that doesn't mean that it didn't happen.
Yeah.
If you had a good experience at the school I went to, that doesn't mean it didn't happen. You know?
We're looking at you, Ashton and Mila.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a very good topic. And, you know, if you were a part of Playboy and you had a great experience, that doesn't mean all this other stuff didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I just think we're in a time when, like, people are actually listening and consequences are actually being dealt. And I think that's a really good thing.
I'm honestly shocked that Danny Masterson got convicted.
I am too.
I am shocked.
Shocked.
Like, pleasantly shocked. Don't get me wrong. Because the things that he was accused of doing happened in 2017. But, like, I was out partying in Hollywood in 2009. And people, like, girls in the club were warning each other at CineSpace. Like, don't talk to him.
Yeah.
Don't talk to him. He's dangerous. Don't talk to him. Because we used to go to, like, Dim Mak Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So, you know that those women that came forward...
Yeah. There's so many more.
Aren't the first ones.
There's so many more.
There's so many more. There's so many more. And that's that, like, cult of Hollywood of, like, celebrity worship.
Yeah, celebrity worship. It's part of it.
They all protect each other.
Yeah, institutions protect their members.
Exactly.
And coerce, perhaps, people into offering letters of support.
And also,
or not. I don't know.
That's why, like, gossip, I think, is so important. You know, like, gossip gets really...
It's the most Gemini thing.
I know.
No, it's true,
but, like,
though.
we keep each other safe.
That's how femmes, women, whatever, keep each other safe. And because that's why... I think that's where it probably... It's like that movie,
is.
Women Talking.
Yeah.
Hello.
It's how we keep each other safe.
They needed to talk about the abuse that was going on.
Otherwise, it would just keep happening.
Like in the hen house or whatever. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
And look, some stuff, rumors. But some stuff.
But sometimes hearing those rumors is going to protect
save
you.
Somebody's life.
Exactly.
Because the victims of these cults and these SAers and these predators, it affects your life not only like, oh, it happened, okay, bye. Like, it's forever. PTSD. It's forever. And it's pretty awful to live with that kind of trauma and have to do that kind of work. Because it is work to undo that. And that's, if you don't do that, if you don't work on your trauma in a healthy way that can help you heal, and you go to Kundalini City or whatever and start taking these love and light bullshit classes that just mask over it. We don't talk about that. We just, you know, it's all about positive. You're low vibration if you talk about or deal with your trauma or cry. That's why love and light is dangerous, because you will then, like your boss, go treat someone else like shit the rest of the day and not even
treat yourself like shit
and treat yourself like and just be a terrible person, but convince yourself somehow that you're not because you're, you know, rolling like a log on the grass. Right. I don't know. Which there's nothing wrong with rolling. I did a lot of that.
Fun. Love that.
Fun, but
Yeah.
It's
Well, and it also leaves you susceptible to falling into these things again. Like that podcast I was listening to, it's called, what's it called? I'm going to shout them out. It's called Trust Us, Don't Trust Us. Trust Me.
Trust Me.
It's called Trust Me.
Trust Me.
And they were interviewing somebody who was in Children of God as a child with her parents, and her mom and her grandma got them out and had some really horrific experiences by age 6. And did not have, she was able to get out.
That's
and
great.
She had family who could take care of her and her mom, which is great. But she also just didn't have, it was, the early 90s? Like, back then therapy was still a punchline.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was still a joke, and you're real crazy if you go to therapy. It's like, we all need it.
Yeah.
But she didn't have that kind of support. And she ended up being one of the people who got sucked into NXIVM later.
Yeah.
And I think, a big part when we have these holes in us, and she said it was such a culture shock going from Children of God to like having to be in the United States and go to normal school.
Right.
And she's like, I didn't know what to do with myself. And so then we seek out something to fill that hole, something familiar. Exactly. And we end up in places that abuse us all over again when we don't have like the help that we need.
Yeah.
And it sucks because it's not like mental health care is readily available in the United States or free or
care in general is not free here.
No.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's part of the reason cults thrive so much here too.
Yes.
Is that like we don't really have any way to help ourselves.
Yeah, no, we need these shiny window displays they draw us in because their country does not take care of its people at all. And people are hurting and they're sick literally or mentally and need guidance.
Yeah.
And seeing the sun would be pretty attractive when you're like just in complete darkness.
Especially if like you've grown up in like conservative Christianity. And so then you like come out of it and you're like, I'm going to California. Yeah. And like you get here and you're like, oh, this thing that was harmful but offered me some sort of structure is gone. And now I'm free falling. So I need to just find something that offers me structure and support again. But like you said, we go to what's familiar. So we end up somewhere that abuses us in different ways or by different names.
By
but
different names,
ways.
but the same ways.
Yeah.
It's, which I think is why it's important, like we talk about, to create your own structures within yourself before you interact. This is more about like witchcraft and spirituality and magical practicing, but like you have to have a grounded sense and like a foundation of who you are, what you're about, get some boundaries right, get your structure of your house of cards or your, whatever visual you want. You have to, God, I'm so emotional. You have to reinforce that for yourself and trust yourself before you work with somebody else or let other people into that, because it's a very predatory space now.
Yes.
And I had my entire life to do this for myself. And you had your entire life of like a very beautiful cultural family lineage to like know yourself. And that's why we're able to not like fall prey to these things, because it's so important now, especially, it's just.
I think so many people, I was watching a TikTok they were talking about how Gen Z and whoever comes after them, there's this, I don't know, letters.
Z?
Is it backwards or forwards?
I don't know.
Are they A?
Gen A? Let's just start over.
But the culture of our country is making young people like turn to nihilism.
Yeah.
Because we're existing in climate crisis. We're existing in a time where there is no financial stability, there is no home stability, there is no like care that is promised to us that we need. Late stage capitalism makes everything so expensive and unattainable, and so many young people are turning away from their parents' more conservative Christian foundations, right? And so but humans need something to believe in. Humans need something to believe in. Like,
even if it's the belief of nothing.
Exactly.
Like atheism.
Exactly. We need something to subscribe to help us, I don't know, it's
cope.
Part of, exactly.
It
to help
is.
us cope.
It's our natural instinct.
Truly. It's a natural part of who we are, the same way drinking water and eating food is. And there's this fear that like kids are going to like fall into this like era of nihilism and just like being super pessimistic and like ready for the world to end. But what I think is going to happen, like, yes, and I think more and more young people are going to become susceptible to cults and like false prophets.
Yeah.
And people who say like, I know it all.
Yeah.
Come to me. I know it all.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're going through. Let me take you at your most vulnerable. Tell me all of your secrets, and I will tell you the secrets to like living well. And something that I've noticed over the years in my practice is that sometimes I'll have clients sit with me and they get really frustrated when they find out that meeting their spirit guides, getting to know their ancestors, engaging in espiritismo is not an instant fix for their life. It's literally like a lifelong commitment to a relationship that doesn't make all the hard times disappear. It just helps you navigate through them better and feel a little bit better about yourself and the future as you're doing it. And it gives you permission to dream big, which is all really great, but it's not instant gratification. It takes effort and time. And like, there are people who are looking for, but how do I fix me now? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, baby, I don't know. I don't know how to fix you now.
How do I feel fulfilled?
Yeah.
Is a problem.
And you know what my practice offers is lots of little things that grow into big things that help you in bigger ways. Yeah. But if we're not ready to commit to all the small stuff and we're just waiting for the like snake oil salesman to come through, that's how we end up getting.
Yeah.
And I fear for like these younger generations, because I say it all the time, like, we're in the age of Amazon Prime and we're so used to things happening so fast. Netflix on demand. You don't even have to wait for it in the mail.
It's wild.
Like, so I know. It has to be so much harder for them to even fathom like committing to a spiritual practice that would actually help them rather than extort and exploit them.
Yeah. Yes. Because like, especially with a practice like magic, a magical lifestyle takes not even time. It takes attention. It does take time, but it takes attention and focus. And those are two things that are being stolen from us on a daily basis. And yes, and to what you were saying, I was thinking about being in a nihilistic state, which we are in. What else does that do? If you're in such a low state and you're so sad and you're so just whatever, apathetic, a cult might look real good. But also a love and light might look real good.
Exactly.
Why... when you don't have the bandwidth to work on yourself or to, I'm not defending love and light people, but I'm saying everyone's different and everyone has a different experience. And sometimes I think people don't have the energy or they're not in a place because of like late stage capitalism and stuff to even have the notion to do the work of the shadow or whatever you want to call it to truly help themselves. But then so all these love and light, like high vibrational and it's okay. This is not just to like think positive. Like thinking positive is nice.
Yeah.
Positivity is nice.
I'm in my toxic positivity era.
Yeah. Yeah. I like a little delusion on my cupcakes. Sprinkle it on.
Absolutely.
I think we all need some of that. And for me to say that, because I'm a very realistic person, it's saying a lot. I'm like, give me, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna have that bottle of wine. Like, whatever. I'm into little pleasures that may not be the best for me, but you know, I think that's why people go to these like the teal swans and the people like that, where it's, I know people that follow that, and I'm like, it gives them power. It gives them like an illusion of self. And I think sometimes that's what people maybe need or want. But the bigger picture of love and light and those, I think it's why people don't respond very well when I'm like, but love and light is toxic, but you shouldn't use, you know, like you're not like, you shouldn't appropriate Native American things. But it's like this, I can't really explain it. Like they're related. Like,
it's like
when you get into that headspace, it's like,
that's a whole other kind of delusion.
When you get into this love and light headspace, you're taught to like suppress not only your low vibrational whatevers, but also
everyone
the
else
low vibrations of our country's history. Which is built on murder and genocide. That's a fact.
Yeah.
And indentured servitude. Yeah. That is a fact.
Yeah.
And that gets overlooked. And then that affects other things. And it's like this water, that's where the love and light thing is very, thinking positively, sprinkling like, a delusional cup, having a delusional cupcake.
Delusional to survive.
Yes.
This is a survival mechanism because we see the world around us. We accept the world around us.
We're all dealing with the same
we are very aware
kind of stuff. But
so
it's
we have
like,
to be in our little pixie castles in the sky in our minds.
But there's extremes. There are extremes to that way of thinking that
we're in delusion, not denial.
Yeah. Delusion and denial are different things. Delusion is like the back of your mind.
Everything's fine. That meme of the...
But you know deep down what's going on. But denial is like a hard no. A hard, that didn't happen. AIDS didn't happen. The Holocaust didn't happen. Native Americans deserved it. I don't know what people
whatever
think. Whatever delusional, like...
Yeah.
So there's like this landslide of things that happen, you know, it's just, it's a giant cult. It's like a cult, like
the cult of patriotism.
Yeah.
The cults of American nationalism. Absolutely.
It's a giant cult that
It's just
a whole
the indoctrination, the brainwashing,
that too,
passing it on to the generation.
That too is a cult.
Like it goes back to what we were talking about in our performance episode and how like media is a part of the brainwashing.
School education again, like in a different way.
But it is. But it makes you a productive
public education
member of society.
I wasn't taught about how awful the genocide was.
No.
It's very glossed over. It's like, well, let's learn about the tribes and like what they did. And at least we learned about that. But
we were taught in Catholic school that the indigenous people wanted jobs.
They wanted jobs.
They wanted jobs.
They welcomed us with corn.
And they wanted to work on the missions.
Yeah, they liked. I grew up near La Purísima, which is an awful mission in Lompoc, California. And we would go there on school trips.
Did you?
And we would learn how to make masa and and I'm like, what?
Did you have to build a mission?
Oh yeah. We built missions.
We built them.
We had to build them. We went to them on a regular basis. And it was just like, look how cool life was here. Look, there's teepees. Like
everyone was so happy.
Meanwhile, there are bodies buried of these people, and we're just walking around like it's nothing. It's
bodies
disgusting.
Under the parking lot. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm yelling. It's
But that's
It's
exactly
absolutely,
It's part of the cult of
and that's all across the country.
nationalism. Yep. American nationalism.
To go back what you talk about, no wonder everything's
Rewrite
haunted.
history. Yeah, that's why everything is haunted.
Everything is haunted. No wonder. No wonder.
Yeah.
Sorry, I yelled. I got mad.
But even, okay, like after 9/11, like country music switched from being outlaw music to being like the favorite son of the Confederacy.
Yeah.
You know, like it all became part of that brainwashing machine.
Yeah.
It stopped
that's
being
a whole
like,
nother topic.
I killed a cop on my way to Fresno, drank a beer, and hid the gun under my mom's pillow. Like, it's
to
became
like, let's make the border
I'll put a
stronger.
boot in your ass. It's the American way. Like, what?
It's very Team America World Police.
But like this country is a cult and a death cult at that.
Yeah.
Like, we sacrifice people in this cult on a daily basis to the state, and it's fucked up.
Man, there's a whole nother
back here.
No, it's true. The capitalism and the what are we even talking about? Cults?
Cults of capitalism.
I mean, that's just real. That's just, and anything else is denial.
Yeah.
Anything else is denial. Anything else is denial.
You can be delusional, but you can't be in denial.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unrelated.
Good.
But the new Hollywood cults.
Is there another fun one we can talk about? I'm like real mad.
I guess it's kind of fun.
I'm really
so
angry.
I don't know if it's technically a cult yet, but this like fascination of celebrity megachurch pastors and how they are like the new evangelicals.
Like Kanye?
Like it used to be
like
Kanye hangs out with one of them.
Oh.
So like there's the guy from Hillsong, Carl Lentz.
It's the Chris Pratt one, right? Alleged.
Here, wait. I have all their names somewhere.
Oh, cool.
I have so many links.
You mean like when celebrities like kick it at these places and then they become popular?
So the dudes become popular, and then people like pour so much money into these churches, and then these pastors end up living these really
lavish
lifestyles.
Oh, they're like celebrities.
They're all in like
the celebrities.
All the new like
they're flying.
They're like in private
like
jets.
NSYNC concerts.
Literally, yes. Yeah. And they're in like the new Yeezys. And they all wear like streetwear, expensive streetwear, like Off-White to church.
That's a very LA kind of thing too.
And then celebrities become the new faces of promoting evangelical Christianity, right? It used to be like you turn on the TV early on a Sunday and you would see like
Jim Bob or some
or Shamblin, whatever their name was, and the woman has the big hair, and they're like, "Thank you for tuning in with the Lord. Send your money to the Lord.
Send your money to 1-800 Third Eye Bind."
We should make a promo like that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Just like
do our hair really big.
Oh, can I do like Tammy Faye lashes?
Exactly. We'll both be like Tammy Faye, like full drag.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, can I be the man drag?
Oh my God, absolutely.
I love a male drag.
Yes, let's do it. Okay, coming soon. But that used to be how...
Yeah, Jethro's going to be my name.
They'd collect, and now it's people like the Kardashians and Justin Bieber.
Are they in a church?
And Hailey. Yeah, so the Kardashians are a part of one of those big churches, too. They're part of Zoe Church.
Okay, is it a bad church? Is it a good church?
It's
is it
another one of
church?
those weird Christian mega churches that allegedly does gay conversion therapy. Allegedly. It's been denied by the leaders.
Okay.
But some ex-members say that this is something that happens there. And Zoe Church is like the hot one right now.
Okay.
And so like all of these celebrities post about these churches and like post quotes from their pastors, and they're on the phone with their pastors all the time, post pictures with their pastors. So then
they're doing promo.
People who don't have that kind of money show up and start paying tithings to get to spend time there and hope to catch a glimpse of the Biebs. And like, I don't know how controlling over their lives these places are, but there's definitely something interesting in this trend of like the new evangelicals being reality stars.
Yeah,
and
it seems like the difference between a cult and a church is maybe the freedom that people are given.
Majorly. Because in a church, you can come and go. But
You
in
can
a
come
cult,
and go as you please. But in a cult, you
there's
cannot.
no self-agency.
There are way more restrictions.
And they sell you on the idea of how you get to have power and you get to be free.
Yeah.
But when you get there, you don't get to do anything for yourself. You don't get to think for yourself, dress for yourself, eat when you want to eat.
And then there's a lot of the blackmailing and the collection of confessions and like NXIVM had like naked pictures of people that they had to send when they joined.
Yeah, that was part of the sign up.
Yeah. And like here, give me your you're pledging your I don't know.
And apparently like Voldemort has lots of tape. Like there's recordings of tapes of people's confessions. And that also reminds me of your experience of like having to tap into your traumas and be present with your traumas in order to perform well for the show. It's like you have to offer up your trauma as part of the tithing as well.
Really weird about theater. There were signs on the doors, all the classroom doors that were like, leave everything outside, leave your outside drama, but also use all your trauma. Like it didn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Basically, like, the focus is the room, the sacredness of the stage. And that's a fucking cult. Hey, I can do a tap number like no one's business, but I gotta go to therapy now. I know Shapoopy I had to perform a dance number called Shapoopy from The Music Man. It's the Act 1 closer or the Act 2 opener, I forgot. After my stepfather's dad died, I found out I was a understudy in a swing, which is the most ridiculous job ever. To be a swing, you have to learn 6 different people's tracks and be able to do them like that. And I could. It was insane.
You were paying them for that.
I wonder why. You. I feel like I have to do everything. And if I don't do enough work in a day, I don't deserve to rest.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you. Bunk theater training. And I'm not saying all theater training is like this. I'm saying this was my experience.
It wouldn't surprise me if a lot of them are like this.
And that's why I'm like that. It's not because I'm just like that. It's because the standard of perfectionism was placed upon me for 2 years straight every day of my damn life. Okay? It's crazy.
And I feel like sometimes folks want to discount survivors who haven't been in as long.
Yeah.
But like that was 2 years of your life. For
when I was 22.
A lifetime of having to work to heal from it.
Yeah. Like that was
forever.
Imagine what people go through that, are in cults where they're like assaulted physically. And, what I went through in comparison, I don't like to compare pain, and I've tried not to do that because I do downplay my own pain and trauma. But I do understand that it was a short amount of time, but look how messed up it made me just from that amount of time. I'm imagining and empathizing. It doesn't take much.
It doesn't take much
to
time.
traumatize somebody.
No. Once you're in
repeated behavior where you're being abused in front of a whole room of people and no one stands up for you, that'll do something to you. That's by someone in a position of power. Yeah. That'll do it.
It's forever damage, even if you're only there for a short time.
And told and not feel the need or encouraged to speak out about it. And if you do, you're going to get blackballed. Yeah.
You'll never work again.
You'll never work again.
Never work in this town. I'm going to ramble off just some of the historic Los Angeles cults. Ooh. So, of course, we have the Manson family.
Yes.
If you know, you know. I recently watched like a weird Quentin Tarantino movie, only because my husband was watching it. I don't like watching things that are violent. But it was like a rewrite of what could have happened that night if
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
I like that the dog attacks everybody.
Me too.
I actually enjoyed that.
I thought it was kind of good.
And then she ends up living.
Yeah, she ends up living. Yeah. Oh, I love her. Rip.
I thought that was kind of cool. That movie is
Sharon Tate forever.
problematic in other ways, but yes.
So many ways, but
so many
Sharon
ways,
Tate forever.
But that was nice.
Jim Jones and the People's Temple.
Oh, yeah.
Who are the origin of drinking the Kool-Aid.
Literally.
And apparently, like many cults, this started on the idea of creating racial harmony, agricultural utopia, communal living, but Jim Jones was an addict.
Yeah.
And spiraled real hard. To the detriment of all.
Oh, yeah.
The Source family.
Oh.
So the Source family is apparently less sinister than a lot of the other groups, but it was look at these people.
Oh, they look nice. They look like they're going to a wedding.
Don't they look like they're going to a wedding? Everybody's dressed up, mostly white, all long hair, very 70s. But was led by an ex-Marine named James Edward Baker, who was known as Father Yod. And they all had young, long-haired, gorgeous, glowing women in his following.
I was going to say they all look really beautiful. They're all traditionally.
Exactly. Conventionally beautiful. They had a restaurant called The Source Family on Sunset Boulevard.
Oh, what if it was good?
For a long time.
Let's look at the Yelp.
And Yod kind of became this 1960s California messiah with his white Rolls Royce. He was the leader of a psychedelic rock Christian band, or not rock Christian band, but like a rock spiritual band. And they had a house called the Mother House in Los Feliz, which was a mansion built by the Chandlers.
Oh.
And then they later moved to Nichols Canyon in the Hollywood Hills to the Father House, and 140 people lived in the 3-bedroom Father House. Oh. And they would do daily meditation, yoga, all that stuff. He was a guru with multiple wives. Eventually they moved to Hawaii.
I mean, look, okay, a commune in what we're living in now makes kind of a lot of sense. Let's live on a farm together in our communities. Let's kick it old school and like have a few families live on a property.
I love the idea of a commune.
That's fine.
I feel like it's always because like one man goes a little haywire and gets a little too big for his britches and everybody suffers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's probably why they were so popular in the like 60s and 70s, because communal living sounded really good when we're dealing with like Richard Nixon. And I've been cursing so much this episode.
It's okay. There's a lot of toad sounds coming out.
Richard Nixon and like Vietnam and all that stuff. Yeah. So like people are like, how do we take care of each other?
Yeah.
Except it never ended.
Yeah.
For the most part, well.
Communal living doesn't automatically equal a cult.
No.
It does not.
It does not.
It's not for everyone, but not necessarily a bad
There might
thing.
be some communes out there.
Yeah.
That are nice. Who knows?
Could be the commune of we worship this black goat. Okay, I'm down for that. If you had a cult,
as long as there's self-agency.
Caitlin, if you had a cult, what would it be like if you had to start one?
It would probably be lots of families.
Like more like a commune style cult.
Like commune style cult. And it would be a lot of like parents helping each other. But okay, even when I'm saying that, I get like this uncomfortable feeling because I was listening to the like podcast about Children of God who call themselves the family. Yeah. And like it was families and they would like separate the kids from the adults and separate the adults from each other and make them find new partners. Yeah. So that you were constantly made to feel alone. Yeah. Because if you get too close to your nuclear family, then you realize you're strong enough to leave. Yeah. Oh my God.
Scary. A lot of celebrities were the Joaquin Phoenix and their family was in Children of God.
Okay. And like,
forgot who else, but
like River Phoenix was really damaged by that experience.
Yeah. Who knows what that part played in. Rest in peace, River Phoenix.
Rest in peace, River
what
Phoenix.
A beautiful human. What would my cult be?
What would your cult be?
Be something silly like our guru is an animal. Like we talk to this toad and he's just like
Cult of the
and
Toad.
we take really good care of the toad, and like we
Yeah.
pet it, we feed it, and that's the cult. You're just like we have a
love
communal
that.
pet that we worship. Yeah, like like the cult of rosemary.
Yeah,
You're
the
like,
cult of rosemary.
and then you just wear toad stuff, and you can rip it.
You croak.
Rip it. You just have your own croak, and it's weird and it's unharmful. It's not harmful. It's just weird.
On my Switch called Cult of the Lamb.
Could be a cult, video game cult.
It's a little fluffy lamb who's like the leader of the
Yes,
cult. And
like that.
like he spends all of his time going through the dark woods finding resources so that he can like keep his cult members like fed and happy and housed and clean.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really fun.
You just raise toads, I guess. And then it's more of an organization, I guess. But the restrictions are you have to feed the toad at a certain time, and you have to show it love at a certain time. It's not very scary.
You know what I didn't know was a cult that I just learned? Because I've driven by this place
Lush.
a bajillion times, LOL.
I can talk more about that, but workplaces can be called.
The Self-Realization Fellowship.
What's that?
They have a place on Sunset right by Children's Hospital and Kaiser and the big blue building.
Oh.
But they were there first.
Oh.
And apparently they started in the 20s.
Whoa.
And the Self-Realization Fellowship still owns some of the most beautiful land in Los Angeles, including a shrine in the Pacific Palisades overlooking the ocean.
Dang.
And a hotel in Mount Washington.
What?
And apparently Elvis Presley used to hang out there sometimes.
All right. Looks like they got a little overshadowed, but
They
literally.
quite literally.
Oh my God.
So yeah, those are just some of the cults. And of course, Children of God was a cult that was here, but is not, I don't think it's as present here, but I didn't realize it started in Huntington Beach in 66.
Oh.
Children of God started in Huntington Beach in
Anything
66.
can be a cult, really.
Anything can be a cult.
It reminds me of what we talked about in another episode. I forgot. It's something that was culty, but wasn't quite a cult, but I've lost it. My brain is, this whole time, this side of my head has been really kind of like hurty and
We got
weird.
a cleansey after this.
Yeah, I'm real sweaty and I need some food.
Yeah. Let's go eat some lunch.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, okay. I don't think I can take questions right now. No questions. No questions, please.
No questions.
This is LA. No questions.
No questions.
No questions.
Contact my publicist.
You can DM us. But thank you for listening to Third Eye Bind.
Be sure to leave us a message on the Third Eye line.
1-800-3rd Eye Line. Jesus will save you.
Send in your tithings.
Send in your tithings. You can Venmo us at Third Eye. Don't do that because I don't have
we
one
don't
set
actually
up,
have
but
one.
we should have a tip jar. Thank you so much for listening. You can follow the podcast at Third Eye Bind Pod on Instagram. There, submit your questions via the Third Eye line by sending us a voice message or a text DM. The show is available wherever you listen to podcasts and for you to watch on YouTube. Get early access to episodes and even monthly one-on-one sessions with us by joining our Patreon. Find us at patreon.com/thirdeyebind. Third Eye Bind is produced and edited by Mike Realm. Hosted by Caitlin Grania and Laura Wong. Music by Mike Realm. Set design by Laura Wong. You can find Laura on Instagram at Lady Moon Co. And you can find Caitlin at caitlin.grania.